Imagine being a Manchester United fan. Let's all laugh at them, because what kind of a sad, pathetic individual would put themselves through that kind of misery? Oh no. No! With how bad this football club has been both on and off the pitch, and the sheer circus surrounding the team and gameplay, with every week after week of subpar performances, I think the question must be asked. What do people see in Erik Ten Hag?
Stick to the plan.
What's the plan?
The plan is huge.
Tell us what the plan is then.
The plan will be the same.
No, like seriously, what do people see? Because over his entire Manchester United tenure, I have heard people talk about how he's improving the team, how he has a plan and style of play. To be honest, even when they're going good for him, which mind you is exceedingly rare and far in between, I do not see any of that displayed in his team or himself. In any of the positive results that the team has managed to produce under his leadership, the performance has been extremely drab and honestly soulless, with baffling team selections and previously mentioned lack of style of play. What do his supporters see? The people who still want him in charge or think if given time he will turn things around, and it is a mystery to me. Now granted, there will always be media circus surrounding Manchester United no matter what. Even during the club's successful periods, the media, specifically the English media, would always try and spin any story surrounding Manchester United in a negative light. Yes, this happened, even during Sir Alex Ferguson's reign, and of course I wasn't as critical of the manager back then, or the team. Well, what were they gonna say? Oh, say Sir Alex was a crap manager and his players winning the titles regularly weren't good enough? They couldn't really do that now, could they? But that didn't stop them from trying at times. Now, in contrast to that, when Ollie was a manager, I constantly heard both fans of the club and opposition fans, and including the so-called pundits, criticizing him on how he has no tactics and it's just vibes. Basically, saying he's a clueless PE teacher with no tactics or style of play. Now, since the beginning of Ten Hag's reign, I have not seen any clear style of play. No matter how much I keep hearing about his pressing style and how he wants players to press the opposition, I cannot help but see a bunch of players running around aimlessly, like a group of headless chicken. Speaking of Ten Hag's crazy tactics, let's talk about his substitutions, including the weird substitution of Rashford when he was actually playing good. His schedule's 3 good games per year. But guess what? Ten Hag didn't want that. For some odd reason, when the team needs goals and the team needs better performances, he takes off his most informed players. And don't get me started on his allergy for strikers who can actually score. Keep in mind, this is the man who replaced Cristiano Ronaldo with Wout Weghorst. And then ended up buying Xerxes, a man who himself doesn't really know what position he's playing. It seems like whenever a striker is in a purple patch of scoring, Ten Hag just simply doesn't like that. In my opinion, it is very strange to see Ten Hag continuously claim that everything's okay and he's building onto something better, when clearly we can see that nothing's working and everything's going wrong. Now, I do understand he can't really say that everything's gone bad. It wouldn't look good on him, but I find it harder and harder to watch the matches. At least when Ollie was in charge, I had hope when watching matches, especially matches against bigger teams. But under Ten Hag, I feel no hope. Unlike when Ole was in charge, under Ten Hag, I feel no hope, especially when coming against big teams. During Ole's time, there was some hope that he would set up the team in a way to beat them, and he would try and win against the team. Under Ten Hag, I expect United to lose when coming across any decent opponent in any competition. And it's clear to see that throughout this season and the previous one. This, coupled with terrible gameplay and lack of style of play, makes for horrendous viewing week after week. And to be honest, I'm getting to my breaking point. Now, to be honest, Ten Hag is not the only one to blame for the dire situation of the club. The owners and the board have heavy responsibilities, which they have failed at. A lot of people were happy when Ratcliffe and Ineos stepped into the club as minority shareholders, focusing on the footballing aspect of the club. At least that's how it was portrayed in the media. but we must not ignore Ratcliffe and his general incompetence, and the cluelessness in terms of Manchester United and his other sporting ventures. For this video, let's just focus on OGC Nice for a bit, another European club who Ineos have purchased and been in charge of since 2019. In that time, they have finished 9th twice and 5th twice, with dwindling point totals. In my opinion, having Ineos as your owners is worse than having the Glazers. At least with those Muppets, they don't stick their hands into everything with no clue and ruin everything. We still have greedy owners taking money out of the club through dividends, but in addition to that, we have an evil billionaire who is completely clueless in all his sporting ventures. I urge you to look at Ineos' other sporting ventures for yourself, which includes other football clubs as well as sailing and cycling amongst other sports. It is not a great record, trust me. The only thing I can think of in terms of why people think that Ineos could bring Manchester United to greatness is the British media's agenda at making these people sound like genius, for the simple fact that they are British. These players, they haven't been good enough for any of the managers. It seems Ronaldo might have been right. They don't really have a winning mentality. But that has been talked about before too many times. By Jose, by Rooney, and by Rio. Everyone said it at some point, to some degree. None of these players really seem to be driven. They're happy with their massive paychecks, collect their wages, and move on. There's no desire to win. There's no anger in defeat. There's no fighting spirit. I know maybe I shouldn't be so critical. Seeing Mason Mount's reaction after he was quote-unquote injured and sharing his selfie saying everything's okay while the whole club is in meltdown. And Rasmus Højlund posting about his celebration. Really, Rasmus? You want to post about your cringy celebration? While this team is not even winning, that's what you want to do? I don't think with this kind of mentality you'll ever be a great player or be fit enough for United. And I know it seems like I'm singling out these two players, but none of them have been good enough and none of them have showed the desire. It's a shame, really.
We stick to the plan. You have to stick to the plan. Stick to the plan. We have to stick to the plan.
It seems like Ten Hag's adamant on buying his boys. Any players he's worked with, especially at Ajax, or who's Dutch, or been in the Dutch league, or he's crossed paths with at some capacity. Even if they're overpriced and clearly not the best choice, he will still go and hunt them down. For example, Anthony. Clearly he wasn't the best choice. He could not have been the best choice for a right winger at Man United. To be honest, United at that point had better right wingers, and I include Ahmad and Pellistri, who since then has left the club. De Ligt, a man who left Bayern. Keep in mind, Bayern Munich does not let players go that easy. Like Real Madrid, they tend to suck every drop of talent they can from a player before getting rid of them. In my opinion, De Ligt never was a top centre-back. He might have played for Ajax, Juventus, and Bayern Munich, but his performances were never extraordinary, apart from his last season at Ajax. This man has been subpar for years, yet United still went for it, because he's Ten Hag's boy. Every single player that we've signed under Ten Hag seems to be related to him in some way, and even the players we get linked with. Let's not forget his weird obsession with signing Frankie de Jong. It seemed like every single transfer window since he joined, there were rumors about Frankie de Jong signing for Man United. And it went beyond rumors as well, as both Ten Hag and de Jong have mentioned in press conferences about the transfer rumors. It's just sad at this point. One of the strange things I find about Ten Hag is his insistence on his trophy-winning ability, even though he barely scraped through the ones he's won at United. Especially when you consider in last season, United could have and should have been knocked out by Coventry in the semi-finals, while doing terribly in the league and almost never performing in Europe under Ten Hag. It seems very odd to me for him to boast about his League Cup and FA Cup. A League Cup trophy which honestly does not hold much weight at all, and an FA Cup win which he barely scraped through. Seems like an odd thing to flex about, but I guess he doesn't have much to talk about in positive light. Well, cheer up, Eric. At least you still won more trophies than Arteta did in his entire 5 years at Arsenal.
It's time to go!
This season has been the worst Premier League start for United, breaking the previous record which was set by, you guessed it, Erik Ten Hag himself. This man truly is a record breaker. There's no denying it. He simply loves breaking records. 8 points from the first 7 games in the season, which he had a previous record of 9 points from 7 games, so getting better at it. Getting better at being absolutely. And in those 7 games, United scored 5 goals. That's less than a lot of players have scored at that point in the season. Now, I don't think these matches are the reason he should get sacked. Not because I think he did well in them, because clearly he didn't. But they are probably the peak of the disastrous performances and results Man United have produced under Ten Hag's reign. Well, this was always going to end in a loss, wasn't it? I don't think I have ever had any hope of Manchester United winning a match against Liverpool this season. Well, they have won in the FA Cup quarterfinals 4-3 against Liverpool due to that late Amad Diallo winner, who can't seem to find a starting position within the club at all, no matter what he does. One like equals one respect for my brother Ahmad. But on a more serious note, what does this man have to do to get a spot in the starting 11? Because in my opinion, he's been the most consistent winger in this club for the past year at least, when he got a chance to play. But let's get back to the game. This game, as expected, was utterly dreadful. It started off with a Trent disallowed goal at 7 minutes, followed by 2 rather quick-fire goals by Luis Diaz, both assisted by Mo Salah at 35 and 42 minutes respectively. So with a little comfortable lead, Liverpool just decided to slow down into cruise control in the second half, and Ten Hag tried to save face by subbing off Casemiro. To be fair, Casemiro did look out of it, but bringing on an inexperienced academy kid isn't really going to help when you're 3-0 down against your biggest rivals. And the only real highlight of the match for Manchester United at least was being able to watch Trent do his stupid celebration with confidence and just to have it disallowed. Expected loss, but for goodness sake man, try something. Well, this was a win for United, and it gave hope to a lot of the overeager fans. Erik Ten Hag's back! He's just figuring it out and just needed some time. And of course, Rashford's back! More on that statement shortly. Now the stats for the match were not bad at all. With 56% possession, 20 shots, with 10 of them being on target, it wasn't a bad performance. And with 57% of the duels won by United, it seemed like a solid fight from the team. But with all due respect, it's only Southampton. You're expected to beat them. For Christ's sake, the season before Ollie got sacked, he beat them 9-0. Yep, 9-0. And he probably had to tell his team to calm down a bit, just to not make it overtly humiliating for the opponent. This match was a good performance, no doubt about it, but it wasn't a great performance, at least in my opinion. While watching it, I didn't feel it was as good as the stats showed, but that just might be me. And getting back to the point of Marcus Rashford, the Rashford back narrative. Is he though? He has 1 season on and 1 season off, and even in 22-23 season where he had 30 goals in 56 games, his performances were not actually that great, at least to the eye. There were a lot of wasted chances, dribbles that only ended him running into the defender instead of trying to beat him. I think the stats flatter him a lot for that season. And it feels like his performances have not really been good for the past 2 or 3 years. Even with the stats of 22-23, the season following that, by the way, he scored 8 goals in 43 matches. And the season prior to that, the 21-22 season, he got 5 goals in 32 appearances. The only time he hit actual consistency and good goal output was during Ollie's first 2 seasons, with 22 and 21 goals respectively. I don't think he has proven to be a great player for Man United. Well, at least not in the historical expectations that come with a key player for Man United. It might sound harsh, but oftentimes when I watch him play, I feel like I'm watching a player who should be playing at Crystal Palace, not United. And I think that statement is more disrespectful to Crystal Palace than Marcus Rashford. So I am deeply sorry, Palace fans. Holy sh! They beat Barcelona 7-0. 7 freaking 0. Erik Ten Hag is a ball genius. I can't wait to tell my kids today Man United trashed Barcelona. Oh, this must be a record. Oh, wait. Wait. Is Barnsley? Oh. Well, I think it's fair to say that this is the game Anthony and Ten Hag found their level. Yes, they beat Barcelona before, but let's be honest, that was all Fred. Nothing really happened in this match. Yes, United looked good in attack and had opportunities, but it doesn't really count if you can't finish your chances now, does it? So it just ends in a 0-0 draw. The duality of Christian Eriksen. He was the scorer of United's goal, and the man who lost the ball for the FC Twente equalizer. But let's be honest, Eriksen is the best player in the United team, at least during that period. Yes, he made the mistake for the goal, but every good chance both in this particular match and any of the recent fixtures were created by him. Although I do not think ultimately it's a good idea to rely on an aging, ever-slowing Eriksen, who literally died and came back to life on the football pitch. He is still United's best creative player at the moment, and I think if you are going to play him, he should play in his preferred number 10 spot, ahead of a frustrated and underperforming Bruno. Take this time to give Bruno a rest. Dude looks shattered. But back to the game. Lackluster performance by United. Again, not enough clinical finishing, and letting FC Twente back into the game is not a good look. With all due respect to FC Twente, anything apart from a win against them, at home as well, mind you, should be seen as a failure. You would think at this point that the manager is barely hanging on to the position by a thread. Well, surely now he has to go, right?
He'll go. He has to go, blood. He has to go, blood.
Right? Nope. I honestly don't have the mental strength to go over this match and relive it. I watched the full game, because apparently I like to torture myself. There was nothing good I saw about Manchester United's performance. Nothing good about the players. Nothing good about the staff. Nothing good about the board or the owners. And absolutely nothing good about the manager. A centre back ran through the entire United team to create the first goal. A centre back from Spurs. Can you believe it? I want to say I was surprised. But really, was I? Like, my expectations were low, but really. But Jesus Christ, man, get a grip. Now I know Bruno ended up getting a red card in this match, which was later rescinded the next day. And rightfully so, because it was never a red card. While we should talk about the horrible refereeing and the use of VAR, I must say, even without the red card, and being effectively 9 men down at that point, with Manu also being injured as well, and Mason Mount not being able to come on for a while, United were not going to win this game, even if they had all the players on the field throughout the entire length of the match. This was one of the worst performances I have seen from this team. What do I even say? With Ten Hag's job in the line, teams seem to be kicking in a bit. Rashford and Højlund put United up by 2 goals within the first 20 minutes of the game. Oh my god, they're finally gonna do it! They're finally getting it together! This bald man is going to save his job and the team and lead United back to the glory days. Oh, wait. What? No. Yep, they threw away a 2-goal lead and conceded 3 goals within 30 minutes. Amazing stuff, guys. When all hope seemed lost, Harry Maguire stepped in on the first minute of stoppage time to level the game at 3-3 with a great header from Eriksen's corner. While the team were losing, Ten Hag decides to bring in 2 centre backs, who he doesn't really fancy much, to save the game? Really? Now yes, Maguire did score to level it, but there is no way you can convince me this man knew this would happen and brought these 2 on as goal-scoring tactic. Did he think it was his last game and he wanted to give these 2 their last few chances? Sometimes I honestly can't comprehend what goes in the bald genius's head. It was a boring match. Nothing really happened. Here are the stats of the game. You can see it for yourself. With both teams not really making any big chances and expected goals being at 0.5 and 0.56 respectively, neither of these teams were going to score. Well, while Villa were tired from beating Bayern in the Champions League, I guess United were tired from almost bottling it against Porto in the Europa League. Again, it was an unexpected hero who kept Ten Hag afloat. Johnny Evans was the man of the match for this game with a very solid defensive performance from him. Well, while I was writing the script, this match was about to happen, and Ten Hag was still at the job. I didn't really expect anything from this match. I didn't expect to see a win. I just think it's funny at this point, just seeing how this man keeps surviving, when other managers with better CVs or potential were not given this much chance. At this point, man, you just gotta cry through the pain. Well, it's halftime in the game and Diddler had to come off the pitch because blood was gushing through his head, and wasn't allowed back onto the pitch. And during that time, Brentford went and scored. But fortunately, it was a cliche game of two halves. Second half, United came back fighting, with an almost immediate goal from Garnacho in the second half. This, by the way, was the first Premier League goal from United in 316 minutes. Højlund then taking the lead from Bruno's assist, and then let the whole cycle begin again. Either ways, positive result, 2-1 to United. With this result, United leapfrogged Brentford to go into the 11th spot. Yep, mid-table with -2 goal difference, baby. It's another draw for Man United. Who would have guessed it? Honestly, I thought Jose would have beaten him. And honestly, Jose should have. Because I had no hope of this Man United team, especially under this man's leadership, to beat a team managed by Jose Mourinho. Yes, Fenerbahçe can be seen as the underdog, but let's not kid ourselves. They are more than capable of being a challenge, and at the state that Man United are, honestly, it's probably disappointing for them that they didn't beat. But you know who isn't disappointed? Erik Ten Hag, because according to him, when you take 2 points at Porto and Fenerbahçe away, it shows the team are hard to beat. Ah yes, the ultimate battle in the Premier League manager sackathon. Two of the most underperforming managers in the league. And predictably, United came out as second best, losing 2-1 to West Ham. A West Ham side, mind you, who have been as bad, if not worse, than United. United, however, did put on a bit of a fight, but more so after going down by 1 goal. However, United's poor finishing would come back to haunt them, as West Ham will go on to take the lead through a penalty kick to win the match 2-1. Now, speaking of the penalty, it really was not a penalty, was it? This feels like a third match in quick succession where VAR has gotten it wrong again. I cannot think how anyone looking at that replay could think it was a penalty. But at the end of the day, if you can't finish your chances, you gotta pay the price.
But Manchester United have sacked their manager, Erik Ten Hag.
Give it Giggsy to the end of the season.
This video has taken me a long time to make. It was my first video, but apart from that, it's a video I didn't really want to make. I didn't want to make a video criticizing the United manager. I didn't want to make a video where we talk about the manager potentially being sacked. And while I was dilly-dallying and waiting, trying to buy time, hoping he would turn things around, hoping that things would turn better, at least, he was sacked. And it was all done for Erik. At this point, there's no hard feelings, but there's no remorse or sadness in losing Erik Ten Hag either. I don't think he was the right man ever, and I don't feel sad at losing him. I felt sad at the other managers going, or at least sorry for them. I felt sorry for David Moyes. He was given a job which is far too great for any manager. During that time, I expected Man United to not win. I expected to scrape fourth in Moyes' only season, a season he didn't end up completing, by the way. United finished 7th. I think that was the first time in my life I've ever seen United finish so low. Previously, under Sir Alex, coming second would have been seen as a failure. But the Moyes season set the expectation for things to come. At least for me. I know fans have always been optimistic about United getting back, winning titles. But I was always cautious. Optimistic at times, yes, but still cautious. I knew it would take a long time to rebuild, no matter which manager. There were disappointments under all of them. When Louis left, I felt sad. He just won the FA Cup, the team finished 5th. But the style of football, my God, were they the most boring games ever. Even though you could see what he was trying to do, the football was just so boring. And the most entertaining part were the completely unhinged press conferences from Van Gaal.
A lot of times I use the word horny to my play. With sex masochism, then it is allowed, but not in other situations.
Under Jose, there were good times, but there were also bad times. Near the end, things got really toxic. But at least he got to 2nd place and a Europa League, in addition to a League Cup and a Community Shield. Under Ole, even though we didn't win any trophies, there was always optimism. The football was good. There was a lot of goals scored. There was actual attacking football. The team was playing the United way, with wingers flying, with goals coming from all over the pitch. But unfortunately, that didn't last either. And under Ten Hag, none of that ever happened. There was no great style of play. There was no plan, as much as Ten Hag would like you to believe.
Stick to the plan, stick to the game, stick to the plan, stick to the belief, stick to the plan, stick to the rules, stick together, you stick to the plan, stick to the plan, stick together, and stick to the plan.
What's the plan?
Stick to the plan.
So what's the other plan?
Bounce back.
Okay.
We have to bounce back. You bounce back. Yeah. And bounce back immediately. Bounce back. You can bounce back.
People bounce back.
You have to bounce back. We bounce back. And we stick to the plan.
Well, things can't get any worse, can it? Oh no. It's a diddler. My club's been royally diddled. No. No. If you've managed to stick around till the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. This has been a long time in the making, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a like and comment if you enjoyed it. Or write down in the comments down below if you disagree with the things I've said. I can't wait to hear from you guys. But for now, it's goodbye, and thank you again for watching.